Hello, everyone. Blue Star Saber here, once again to do another One Piece chapter review, chapter 1180, Omen. This chapter I'm a bit late when reviewing, as the early releases of the next chapter is out now, but I will not spoil what happens in that one. But anyway, this chapter basically follows the events of the last chapter, where Emu finally decides to show up to Elbaf himself, thinking about how all this is inevitable. The five elders try to discourage him, minus for Garland. Let's see. All the giants and straw hats in Elbaf think that they finally vanquished the enemy, and only for Emu to suddenly arrive, and we finally get his appearance. There's so many people have been expecting how Emu would perform this chapter, because depending on how well Emu is as a threat and as a villain, may determine whether or not he is the final villain of the series, or if perhaps maybe Blackbeard is. Let's see. Will Emu live up to the hype, or will he be shown and prove himself worthy of being the final villain, or will he be will he be okay or average or disappointing? And people hope that Blackbeard becomes the final villain, basically. But yeah. Anyway, let's see. We'll find out. Now, given the fact last chapter confirmed he was Saint Neroma Emu, and he has the devil fruit, if you will. So anyway, and of course, before we begin, we've got the One Piece cover, a reader's request by Vegapunk modifying Zeus to rain candy instead of water by Honey Liquor, which I suppose that makes sense with the title, where we see Vegapunk holding an umbrella with Zeus smiling his lip, dropping like all sort of candy, and Chopper just absolutely loving it, with Nami just looking on in the background. I'll admit it's a nice little cover, and I can see Vegapunk doing something like this, and of course Chopper would enjoy it. I do like how Nami's also there just to get a little taste of what kind of candy Zeus is raining, if you will. Of course, she'll probably observe Zeus. Now, arguably, she'd probably want Zeus to continue being like a fight, being her main source of fighting abilities, if you will. And arguably, Zeus is an unofficial straw hat, but yeah. Anyway, we've gone on long enough about this cover. It's something you could see Vegapunk doing, perhaps if he had more time with the Straw Hats, but alas, he didn't. Though granted, he might be coming back. We'll have to wait and see. Anyway, on to the next chapter, if you will, and next page, where we I don't think I got it out. Let me just let me just get it quickly out. Silly me. I apologize for the delay. The sort of chapter begins with this double page spread where we see like the flames and all the living like houses going Duran, 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 oh, Duran, 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 da-dun, da-dun. Let's see. And we then see Emu, who is standing. Let's see, immediately teleports, confusing some of the giants, and he arrives right in front of them as they're wondering, as Emu says, who is the king of this land, and striking this full pose where you get like a full-on body appearance, which it seems like he is, of course, shirtless with like dots and markings. Some have compared to killing him. He's got like a bit of a pirate's belt. Let's see, some think it's Rox's 3 skulls. A shadowy figure, his blade, the eyes you can see here. With some comparing this to Enno and all that stuff. With Dorian Broggy asking who on earth he is and saying that this land has no king. And then let's see, Emu notices that Summer is being occupied by Gerd, and as a result, Emu slices Gerd's fingers off, and a few of her fingers and thumbs off that were holding Summers before she even realizes. And when she does, as Emu's asking what Summers is doing, let's see, Hajud and Zoro both shocked with her let's see, with let's see, Summer's falling to the floor. Let's see, you have Gerd crying out in pain with the other with some of the giants cursing. Let's see, Emu for doing this, if you will. As you can hear, the house is going da-dum da-dum with Chopper asking how gruesome and her is this guy. And then we have Zoro, who looks like he's ready to try and, let's see, fight Emu. With Summers picking up his heart, metal heart, if you will, confirming that, once again, it's more of a weakness, if you will. And before Zoro can do anything, let's see, he's end up asking, are you one of these knights of God, if you will? And as a result, you've got Hadruden attempting to attack him, saying either way he's an enemy. And Stussen, sensing the danger, kicks out his captain away and gets his leg sliced off. Let's see, saving his captain but losing a leg, much to her shock of Hadruden and Chopper. With some of the people, other giants saying to stay away from Emu, with Hadruden apologizing to Stussen, with I believe Broggy wondering just who is this guy. And then we have Zoro attempting to attack him, if you will, start to fight him, using his King of Hell free sword serpent, using a move called Purgatory. But Emu blocks it with his devil's tail, if you will, and then flicking from his hand a black flame, I think trying to do like the number 6, like 666 for Satan, if you will. And and flicks the fire right at Zoro and seemingly defeats him, much to Chopper's shock. And particularly in one shot. And then you have, hold on, let me just check. And then you have let's see, Hadruden attempting to fight Emu one more time, if you will. And Emu using like the Omen Black Flame again, something like some sort of fireball monster, causes a massive explosion and defeats. Let's see, defeats Hadruden as he's knocked out. And Zoro cursing his own injury. And people confused by these black flames. Emu goes to Summers, puts up one of these black Omen flames around him, and he's go like, yes, Omen, if you will. And let's see, Emu tells Summers to make haste, saying that they have little time, with him bowing down, saying at once, Green Emu, as they both fly off in sort of different directions. And we see that the flame houses, let's see, go back to their normal state. Well, I think someone saying, telling Zoro likely Chopper to get inside and telling everyone else to gather the injured and knocked out kids. With Elder Joe just watching this, completely shocked by the events that are going on. And then we sort of see Emu flying as Giles giving a warning to all of Elbaf, saying that some kind of being greater than the Knights of God has arrived and it's landed on the land below, as we get like this close up of Emu with like black flames, which, as there are many to speculate whether or not Emu is a Lunarian or not, or if this is just like these black wings are just part of like Emu's devil fruit, if you will, with citizens from Elbaf going like, what? Here? Now? You mean it's not over? With everyone telling them to get their weapons ready and thinking that they had enough of these fires and buildings collapsing, that they can't really deal with more of this. And then we see that Emu notices the ice cube that Gunko is trapped in earlier, shoots a flame thing at it, causing one of those fire monsters to come and causes a mass explosion. Let's see, we have no idea whether or not it actually worked and broke the ice, or if Loki's screw is just like what it says. But nevertheless, it seems like Emu's trying to make sure that all his subordinates who are captured are freed. Anyway, and then we sort of cut to like Scapabagon, where his group is, wondering what's going on, as he feels like he's never felt, even at God Valley, he has never felt hockey like this. And then we cut to the Walrus Screw, where Luffy and Loki are, and let's see, apparently they've cooked the food on fire. Luffy thinking it's too hot and that you charged it all. But he says that beggars can't be choosers since it's saying it's still better than it being frozen. So they start eating, telling him to stop our enemy energy because it seems like a real monster has now just arrived. And Luffy is trying so, but it's of course too hot for him. And I do like how you got also the squirrel trying to munch it as well. Anyway, Nami arrives where Usopp and Brock, Sanji, and Frankie are, saying what's happening, with Jimbo saying he has no idea, but he senses tremendous haki, and thinking that it must be an ally of the Gods Knights. And let's see, so, or at least I think, let's see, thinking then it must be then they might be after, let's see, realizing that they're going for the Gods Knights, but unfortunately, they're a bit too late as Killing Him is being, let's see, released. Let's see, his piece is undone with him, and he goes like, "Great one," and thanks him for like the omen as a new flame circle goes around him. With Sanji just questioning, "Hey, who is this guy?" Realizing that he's dangerous. So Sanji, of course, then attempts to let's see, kick Emu, but Emu blocks, let's see, demanding who said you can release him, with Emu blocking with his foot. And then, if you will, Emu then goes around for the sort of like a back kick, if you will. Let's see, causing a massive explosion, also defeating Sanji. So, yeah. With Jinbei questioning, what are these black flames? With then a giant foot, let's see, appearing in front of Emu, saying, "Hey, what do you want with Elbaf?" With Emu saying, "I search for the killer of my faithful servant, who was slain here 14 years past." With Loki saying, "He was not your servant. Howard was my father, the king of Elbaf." As the sort of the chapter ends with Loki proclaiming, "And I'm the man you're looking for." Let's see, and he goes like, "Here in the real world, you deal with me and Elbaf." With Emu saying, "I see. If not for thee, all this trouble would be avoided." With Loki just going like, "Remember that clown," and saying, we'll continue with that here, the real world thing, but saying, "Remember that clown," as these two, Loki standing above Emu, ready to face him off in what appears to be, hopefully, a very epic one-on-one battle, maybe before Luffy arrives with his Sun-gone form, sort of ending the chapter. Anyway, now that this has ends the chapter, I think it's time for me to give my overall thoughts, if you will. But first off, I really do like how we got now a full-on version of Emu's design here. We see more details of him, and arguably he gives me a mix of like Kaido and NL vibes with his like design. In some ways, people have wondered if perhaps maybe Emu was originally a pirate like Joe Boy and maybe Davy Jones before becoming a king or something, given the sort of gap here, if you will. Though I have seen some say that this might just be him just trying to speculate. This is just Oda trying to sort of like emulate NL with this design, if you will. But whether or not Emu was a pirate or not, I do not know, but it's probably unlikely since he was like being described as a king. But nevertheless, I do like it's arguably a very cool and intimidating design. It'll definitely go down as one of the most coolest looking designs, I think, for a One Piece villain. Let's see, I'm not sure if it will be regarded as the best design. I mean, you probably got people still probably say people like Crocodile, Kaido, Katakuri, Doflamingo. I think you'll probably get a lot of One Piece fans still saying let's see, that design is the best, and I realized I have not actually shared the tab. I apologize. So yeah, this design is arguably on fire. Let's see, I quite like it. Definitely gives you that final boss design. I do like the sort of devil tail, and arguably it does show quite a lot of like Emu being the, let's see, having the devil fruit, if you will. I know some people have wondered if the three skulls might be foreshadowing that Blackbeard will eventually steal Emu's devil fruit, since let's see, many theorize that Blackbeard will have 3 devil fruits by the time him and Luffy finally have their matchup, but who knows? But yeah. But anyway, I do like the sort of dots around Emu's getup. And I think I've seen people compare it to Killmonger. Now, whether or not, let's see, Emu is a Lunarian or not, who knows? I mean, we've seen Emu here with like the wings, but this is a debate of whether or not these are the Lunarian wings or if this is just the devil fruits wings or not. Granted, we don't know if I guess we have to see Emu's full appearance when he's not in his devil form, if you will. See, not like the silhouette one, just unmasked regular form without his like devil fruit form, if you will. So oops, I've realized I've not shared the screen again. So yeah. So you can see why with these wings that people might compare Emu to a Lunarian, but it still remains a bit of a debate if he actually is or not. But I think at the very least, at the moment, I'd say these are devil wings, but it could be Lunarian wings. We just have to wait and see if Oda is making Emu and Lunarian, or, you know, this is just a devil form. Granted, I suppose it would, let's see, we'll probably find out if we get like a colored spread of Emu in this form, or maybe a, let's see, volume cover. I have to wait and see, but I don't think that will be for a while. So, but yeah, but anyway, I would say so far Emu is living up to the fight because, well, as we see, he does quite a few things, such as cutting Gerd's fingers, which and thumbs, if you will, which is a bit shocking, and also cutting Susan's foot. They've both been seriously damaged, and it's like, this is quite surprising because, particularly with Gerd, because Oda never usually does this sort of like permanent damage to like a female character. Let's see, especially from like a male, let's see, villain, if you will, but it shows just, I guess Oda's just showing just how dangerous Emu is by doing norms that you normally never do. And it's like, but yikes, Gerd's fingers basically cut off. She didn't even realize, and it's like, so brutal. Granted, Chopper's around, so I'm wondering if he could use his medical skills to possibly reattach and heal them and all that stuff. But let's see, this cut is going to leave some scars. I am curious if, given the fact that Stanson has lost a leg, he'll just get a peg leg or not, or like a proper foot reattached. But it would be kind of cool if he got like a pirate peg leg. But nevertheless, I do definitely see Oda having Gerd's fingers and thumbs reattached. It'll probably be a mix of probably Chopper's medical skills and Lilith's scientific technology. So I can see that. But yeah, but as many people sort of predicted, Zoro would attempt to fight Emu, and Emu blocks him. And I saw a huge debate online, and when Emu defeats Zoro with whether or not he actually saw him, not. Let's see, from what I can tell, he seems to have glanced Zoro for a brief bit, but as he's moving on, Zoro attempts to fight him, and then Emu uses like his black flames to beat him. But yeah, Zoro got defeated in one shot. Now it seems like he's not permanently down for the count, but nevertheless, Zoro has been easily defeated for the first time in the post time skip. Zoro, Oda has, since the post time skip, has sort of made Zoro the sort of bitsy badass, if you will, that seems to defeat nearly any opponent that goes his way. He either easily beats them, or let's see, he might struggle for a bit, but eventually he will win against them. The only exception, I think, with like arguably his first real struggle in the time skip was arguably against Kaido and Big Mom, even though he managed to scar Kaido, but not actually defeating him, but not being defeated himself. Heck, arguably. So against even people like Admiral, we cash against Admiral Fujitora. Let's see, technically he didn't even really lose that. But yeah, but Zoro has finally been used as a sort of like stepping stone to show just how powerful the villain is, basically being used for hype, which has not happened since pre-time skip, where you saw that with like Kuma, Kizaru, Rob Lucci, NL, those Etsy and Kuzan, those types of like characters, ones that could not defeat. Heck, also, I guess you could also include Hawkeye as well, who is his end game goal. But yeah. So let's see. This is the first time in the post-time skip that Zoro has gotten this treatment, and it is pretty, impressive given the fact that Oda has shown that that Zoro is no exception for Emu, and this is probably arguably one of the best ways to hype him up. Zoro fans, I heard, were a bit worried that this might have happened last chapter, but it did. And and while they might be upset, I think they've need to take a bit of humility. They did see their boy Zoro for the first time since the time skip was defeated to show the strength of another character. Sanji had quite that done with a few times, particularly with Doflamingo, if you will. Post time skip, and arguably got the less of the treatment compared to Zoro, as he didn't defeat Virgo when he fought against him and all that stuff. But hey, the Zoro took the L and Emu took the win. For once, Zoro fans, just take it down. Just accept it. It happened pre-time skip, so yeah. Granted, of course, Emu is not the only Zoro is not the only character used, of course, for the hype thing, if you will, as Sanji also ended up, of course, fighting Emu, if you will, and of course Sanji attempting to try and stop him from freeing, getting mad at him for trying to free killing him, if you will. So but I do like how Emu is blocking with a kick, and then of course using a kick back to sort of instead of using a sort of kick in a sense, so using like a King of Hell style, then Emu using some Demon Black Flames, and then Sanji trying to use his signature move, but then with his kicks, but then Emu uses something similar, showing that Emu is above both. Now, while of course, once again, Sanji may be using a bit of a hype tool, if you will, again, for Oda, if you will, but hey, at this time, I'd say I'd give this to Sanji. I think his performance against Emu was a bit more impressive because Emu was actually paying more attention. Granted, he probably would have done the same thing with Sanji if that was the case, but Emu brought out his fur to him itself instead of the tail, and actually attempted to attack again with the kick. So arguably, while both Zoro and Sanji, of course, were being used for hype tools, if you will, I do think that Sanji came out better amongst the two, if you will. And but yeah, so I thought Sanji had the better, more impression than Zoro for once, and even though they both got defeated, I think Sanji looked the better one. But yeah, anyway, I'm going on a bit too much. I do like how a bit earlier did have Hajuden attempting to, of course, attack Emu a few times to avenge the injuries that his crew was, but of course that got him left vulnerable. That he could have gotten killed if not for his crewmate here. So I'm curious to see if that will affect him down the line. Let's see in the future. But I do like how, at the very least, was impressed that he did try to fight Emu, but I think attempting to do a pose similar to I can't remember where, was it Zoro, maybe Roger or something, but Emu just easily still Ritzy, of course. defeated him, if you will. And yeah, so but yeah. Anyway, I think it's interesting that let's see, Emu has decided to, of course, free each of the God's Knights, if you will, and hold on, and so I have discarded a few texts. I'm actually staying at my mum's, so I'm wondering if I'm being a bit too loud. Hold on, let me just check. Okay. Okay, I'm sounding a bit too loud, but so I have to lower my voice a little bit. Apologies there. But anyway, where was I? Oh yeah. Anyway, we see that Emu has, of course, freed each of the God's Knight. Well, at least Somers, and of course, he has also freed. Let's see, Killingham here, if you will. Both have been sort of freed with from their traps, so they're once again villains, if you will. And they've both been given sort of Omen Black Flame power up, so they should arguably be stronger than when they were defeated. Granted, it's curious to see who they fight now. Arguably, Killingham wants to probably have a rematch against Sanji, but Sanji's been defeated by Emu right now. And while I don't think he's down for the count, both Zoro and Sanji will probably get up and have to fight God's Knights again. Granted, it looks like Zoro might end up fighting. Sanji might have a rematch with Killingham that's much more stronger. I couldn't be surprised if some of the Straw Hats end up, of course, fighting to prevent Killingham from killing Sanji. Though, granted, it could also be possible that Killingham has been brought back and now Usopp will get to fight him. But of course, it could be that Sanji ends up fighting Killingham instead. Now, but of course, there is also the fact that Somers end up flying off when Emu killed him and all that stuff, and they got no time to waste. It seems like let's see whether or not Somers flied off. He's away from Zoro, so he won't be able to fight Zoro. So it could be that instead, Somers does end up being the one to fight Zoro, to fight Sanji, if you will, since Sanji and Somers seem to be very both loved themed warriors, but are opposing ideals on that. Now, granted, if that's the case, if Killingham is going to be say someone like Usopp, or will Killingham fight Zoro, or will perhaps if Zoro's not fighting any of those, I do wonder if that means Emu will dummy reverse some giants again and Zoro ends up fighting them, since he did that before, because I do think Emu is going to give Zoro some sort of opponent. Granted, he's flown away before Dory and Brogy before he can dummy reverse them again. But, which, on one hand, I wouldn't be surprised if he does, but it would probably feel a bit redundant, but who knows? Granted, I think some people are a bit mixed on the whole, Omen powering up Somers and killing him, because it's like, do they, as it means that they're not really that strong enough that they need to be powered up again by Emu just before, so that Zoro and Sanji can get some strong opponents. Granted, the other question is, Emu attempts to free Gunko, if you will, and you're wondering if the flames were power enough to break them, because Loki said only his Ragnar squirrel, if you will, can break the flames, or break the ice, if you will. But if Emu's flames can do this, that'd be a massive upscale. But if not, it makes me think that Emu is going to probably dummy reverse Loki this time, be successful, and have him break the ice and free Gunko, who still has a role to play against Brock, if you will. And who knows, maybe Usopp there, just the two team up and have a fight together. But who knows, it could be that Usopp's about to fight Killingham, Brock, Gunko, Sanji, Somers, maybe. I don't know, and Zoro, maybe some other opponent. Who knows? I have to wait and see on that end. But who knows, it's quite others being quite the guesser with all these matchups. Oh, I do like how Gabon talks just to hype up Emu's his hockey is stronger than anything he's ever seen, even stronger than God Valley. I do like how Loki and Luffy are trying to quickly eat food, even Loki with like burning it to make it more chewable, and just saying that, okay, we need to hurry up and because like a strong enemy's coming here and all that stuff. So yeah, but overall, I am mostly hyped the fact that Emu and Loki are about to clash against each other, with Loki realizing you're the one who controlled my father 14 years ago, and Emu like, so you're the one who killed Harold, and they arguably both got beef with each other. Loki for like Emu for controlling his father and forcing him to kill him, and Emu for like ruining his plans 14 years ago to get the giants under his control. So arguably, it's the largest dragon in the world versus the devil. Arguably a very hyped up match, and they'll arguably hopefully build more hype to see whether or not Emu is like final boss material, if you will. But nevertheless, Loki's probably one of the few characters that could probably fight Emu. Now, how long it will be, who knows? It will, let's see. It'll probably be like a few chapters or so. It could be that Emu defeats Loki and then Domi reverses him, or it could be that Luffy arrives and they both try and fight Emu together, but Emu either defeats them or they're both able to hold off Emu long enough before like he has to go back and stuff. Because I don't think Emu's being defeated in this arc, but depending on how strong his win is, will probably determine whether or not Emu is in the final boss or not. But yeah, overall, I'd probably give this chapter a 10 out of 10. Emu, let's see, we got to see how powerful Emu was, maiming Britzy giants, if you will, such as Gerd and Stussen, and then defeating both Zara and Sanji. And we've got a comment from NXNC91 saying, started watching One Piece ABT a few weeks ago, but I quit for a bit. JS got to Luffy getting his first bounty. Really liking it so far. Okay, and just got back. Okay, so you've basically caught up to Luffy's bounty. Okay, that's good. So you've more or less watched the majority of East Blue Saga, arguably the prologue. I'd recommend NXFNC91 you continue to either watch or read it, especially like to read like the arguably the Baroque work / Alabaster Saga, because that is arguably a very good saga in the second like part of the One Piece, and it really starts Ritzy diving into the world of One Piece and just how special it is. I'd recommend it, Ritzy, and arguably you're probably getting some spoilers from this chapter review with the Loki and Emu. But I suppose if you're taking a look, hopefully these me talking about this review has arguably given you some hype to try and catch up to get to Elbaf. So yeah, which you'll get some teasers of that in the next saga. So from where you are, but yeah. But anyway, But yeah, Emu actually defeating Zoro and Sanji, particularly Zoro, showing that he is at least easily can diff Yonko commander level, characters, if you will. Let's see. So cutting giants and freeing his guards knights once again, arguably giving a sense of tension that, in a sense, has not been felt for quite a while with One Piece, because, well, there might have been some tension, I guess. In Egghead, it's the Five Elders never reached the level that Emu has done, never feeling like they were this near invincible force, since the Straw Hats could hold them off for a bit, and then Joe Boy's hockey, saved them. And then in Wano, well, this is a bit of a mixed response, I guess. Some felt that Wano didn't have enough tension when it came to like the Straw Hats, fighting like the Beast Pirates. The only exception you could argue is like Kaido beating characters like Luffy, the Nine Scabbards, all that kind of stuff. But outside of that, not so much. But Emu is so far decimating anyone in his path, and I was probably fighting one of the only few characters that can actually stand a chance against him. And arguably probably one of the most anticipated, one of the most hyped battles of One Piece, and might go down as one of the best. With non-Straw Hat characters. We'll have to wait and see. It depends on what Oda does with it in the next chapter. So yeah. Anyway, I believe that is more or less my thoughts on this chapter. I give it, like I said, 10 out of 10. For those who end up listening to my review, particularly NXFNC91, I hope you enjoyed what it had to say. But for now, I have to go. This is Blue Star Saber signing off. Thank you, everyone, for listening, and I'll see you next time when I review the next chapter. But for now, bye-bye.